Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back here to the channel here. I got NickG in the studio with me. NickG, as always.
As always, an absolute pleasure. And I bring this with heavy heart. I mean, this is just moments after the championship game, the championship loss. Still stings a little bit, and I'm so disappointed.
It's true. I mean, we got some talking points today to talk about next season. Hype up next season, Season 6, where hopefully the Knights can become champions once again.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. Yeah, I mean, a lot of changes need to be made, and we're going to talk about them today for today's video, and hopefully get you guys excited for next season. I'm excited for the Knights to get back in action. Yeah, so let's get into it.
All right, first talking point, Nick G. We have the championship game, of course. The Knights losing 1-0 to the Rovers. Devastating loss, goal right in the middle of the game. Tell me, what did you think of that game?
Yeah, I mean, the word that comes to mind is disappointing. I mean, I just can't shake that word. It's just they played so lacklusterly, you know what I mean? You know, no offense was generated. They missed the chances they did have. The defense was subpar at best. They didn't deal with the balls coming in from the corner, from the middle. They didn't deal with them all that well. The clearances were really weak.
I mean, it's true, as you've seen here on screen, but I gotta say, Nick G, I think after that goal, this team was just demoralized. You mentioned the last game that this team was scared. These Rovers are clearly the best in the franchise, history, in this league, and I think they were a little timid coming out of the gate. Did have a couple decent chances, but just couldn't finish anything. And then after that goal, just could not get anything together.
Yeah, and I know personally, since we play the sport a little bit. In our free time when we're not in the studio, once those missed chances keep piling up, it takes an effect on you, and then once that goal goes in, you feel like you've done everything right, and you just weren't able to convert. And I think that's what happened with the Knights here. I don't even know what to say. They just were so undriven. I don't even know if that's the word.
Man, it could work in this scenario.
I mean, the thing that hurts me the most, and I don't know if we'll be able to put a clip on this on screen. I want to say it was about a minute left, maybe a little less. Maccamachine just chilling in the middle of his own goal. No urgency to get up into the attack with his teammates to try to tie this thing up. I mean, it's the championship game. You need to have that drive, that want to win, and that was just not there.
I agree. But it is what it is. That it was the outcome of the game. Maybe they'll learn from this and we'll get to move on.
I hope so.
Bring us to our next point: inconsistency. Last season, Nick G, the team, they go 6-1 the first 7 games, then they lose 6 straight. Then they come back, win a couple more, barely making the playoffs. That's got to be a problem.
I mean, when you start the season in first place at 6-1, you're living life on a high, really.
I mean, it's true.
You have all this momentum. You feel like nothing can go wrong, and then you lose the first game, and you think, all right, it's just a bump in the road. We'll get back into the winning form. And then the second loss comes, and the third loss, and the fourth. And maccamachine just getting so frustrated during that stretch that I think that played a major part in why they kept losing.
Mm-hmm.
And, at this level, those types of streakiness, I mean, if that comes at the wrong time, say this happened, 3 weeks later, and instead of ending their losing streak and starting back on their hot streak at week 13 or 14, they start, at weeks 16, 17, and by that time it's too late.
It's true, and even the streak could go on longer.
Yeah, thankfully they were able to, break it and grab a couple wins, take the momentum into the playoffs, which got them to the finals, but I don't know. I think they need to clean it up. More, I don't want to say more win-loss, trying to keep 500, Because that mentality, that's a real mentality that can, end up lulling you out of the season, just being like, okay, if we're going to be a 500 team, what's our identity here?
Of course. Of course.
Now, on the flip side, if you are as streaky as they were this season, I really don't know what to say. You saw the outcome. They made it to the finals this time, but what if they don't next time?
Very true, Nick G. Very, very true.
I mean, I'd like to see what your thoughts are on the consistency.
I mean, like I said, the inconsistency can just go in so many different ways. I mean, during that drought period of losses after losses, the team just looked awful. And if you just can't get out of that slump, it's not going to be good for your team, especially your franchise. Maccamachine trying to do everything he could during that slump. Switching players around. Even we don't even know if that was the right call, but it's very interesting to see.
Yeah, and I like that you brought up the roster changes, because I want to make a point about that. The in-season changes, I know the fans were calling for them, but I was surprised that he changed both players. I don't remember who he changed them with, but he changed them for what, a game or two, and then switched right back. I'd like to sit down with maccamachine and just pick his brain on what he was thinking with changing the team back so quickly.
I mean, it's true, and you think, what do the players think when that happens? They get taken out of the roster for one game just to get put back on. That's got to be a message to them in such a negative way.
Yeah, I mean, personally, if I was in that situation, he benches me. I'm like, all right, I gotta work to get better. I gotta, fix my game, and then just to be rewarded a week later.
I don't know. Maccamachine gets just not thinking about that in the present.
I don't know. And we can think about, next season. Who does he bring with him?
I mean, I think season 3 they won, right, Nick G? And, he had a consistent team the whole time. Through the wins and the losses, he grew with this team. He trained with this same team. You got to bring out the championship team, make him come back. Sundown and Wolfman, I think he should start season 6.
Interesting. A blast from the past. I completely forgot that that's who they won with. It's interesting. Personally, I'm a fan of Heater. I always have been, and I know he's a fan favorite of the Knights fans. So, personally, I think he stays in.
The good old Heat.
I like his play style, I really do, but he's kind of lackluster at times. At the end of the season, he wasn't the Heat. He was the Cold. And not to make a joke out of it, because he needs to be the Heat.
Absolutely. Needs to light some flames.
Now, who to pair him with? Sure, you could pair him with Wolfman. Sure, you could pair him with Sundown. I don't like pairing him with Merlin. At the beginning of the season how much I despised Merlin.
What about good old Jester?
Bringing Jester back. Wow, what a blast from the past. But no, I think they need to have some sort of physical identity. And I think bringing back Tex. Tex was a physical beast. And he shares the same car as maccamachine, I believe.
He does.
Now, I think that chemistry between them can grow. If they have time with Heater, Heater can be the kind of multi-gadget person. maccamachine can be, the captain, the enforcer, and Tex can be the physical presence, causing chaos.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a lineup that could work, but at the end of the day, it's maccamachine's choice.
It's true, and we're gonna see next season who he starts the season with. Hopefully, he'll listen to this podcast of ours and maybe take some advice. But
hope so.
I mean, talking about maccamachine, our next point being leadership. You see maccamachine, the team captain of these Knights, has been now, will be for 6 seasons. If you've been reading the news, I think it's out already that he was named captain. But, what does that entail, Nick G? What do we need to see from him next season if they want another championship?
I like that we're bringing this up about maccamachine's leadership, because we talked about it for a quick second earlier about, his frustration with the inconsistency during the losing streak. And it's been a part of his identity as a player for 5 seasons now. If maccamachine and his team isn't performing well, he shows it by skipping the replays just like that.
That's right.
You can tell when he's upset. And I think that he needs to keep a level head more. As a captain, if your team knows that you're upset and that you're not playing at your best, it rubs off on them and makes the team think that they can't do it. And, I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are about the consistency of him, but,
I mean, maccamachine, I think, like you were saying, he's got to be more consistent, especially with this team. He's the leader of this team, the captain, Like you were saying, if his team sees him frustrated and giving up, they're going to think the same thing, especially, maccamachine being one of their better players, which brings me to what I think maccamachine needs to do on the leadership side. I really think he needs to put the time in the gym, on the court, on the field, and he needs to improve all aspects of his game because you can't lead a team if you're going to be riding the bench,
It's true. And I know there was some people I saw during the news during the middle of the season, people were calling for maccamachine to be cut.
I saw that too, and just to hear that from your fans, your own fan base, as you're supposed to be the face of this franchise, I don't know, NickG, it's not good.
Yeah, and what can he do to improve it? There are a couple things that I noticed throughout the season that I kept bringing up. maccamachine, obviously the temper and keeping a level head. But I think the three main points, one obviously being, keeping his frustration down. But the other two, the first of the last two that I'm talking about, more trust in his teammates. I felt like there were games where he tried to play hero ball, and hero ball doesn't work all the time, especially in this league where it's so competitive and the defenses are sometimes so great. Hero ball doesn't work all the time. I think that he needs to recognize that his teammates are there for him.
That's right.
They're also a part of the team, and recognizing when to back off, when to let his teammates do what they need to do, but also not stay so far back like in the finals where he was just sitting in goal waiting for them to do something where he's doing nothing. It's a team game. Playing the 2-0-1, the one being the goalie, it doesn't always work. I think they need to play a healthy 2-2, a 2-1. 2 offense, 1 middle.
Of course.
And then on defense, one chaser and 2 people kind of just chilling by the net.
Absolutely, NickG, absolutely, But that's the biggest takeaway, that maccamachine's got to get better. That comes with all of these skills, play recognition, hitting the ball consistently, all these things.
Hitting the ball is part of the game.
Absolutely. And our final talking point, NickG, is what does the team need to do for next season? What can they improve on in order to win next season?
What do they need to do? Sorry, I just had to think about this for a second. One thing that I noticed getting a lot of success in the playoffs especially and during their last run was their defense being very consistent with their clearances. Because I don't know if everybody else noticed, but I think a lot of their goals came from good clearances. Balls come off the wall, they clear it down, and then all of a sudden it's a 2-on-1. And they're able to put it in the back of the net with a good shot. So getting to the ball, obviously, making sure you hit the ball. But clearances. They need to work on their clearances and their defense. I think that's probably one of the better things to work on as a team.
Exactly. I mean, and even on we're talking about this defensive side of the ball, one of their biggest struggles has been on the wall play. These balls that just roll onto the wall and just drop right in the middle of the goal. Defense is never ready for that, and that's been a lot of their takeaways this season.
I mean, it's the reason why they lost the finals. To be frank, it's the reason they lost the final was a ball on the wall, Buzz putting it in the back of the net. You could see it here in this replay here. The ball goes up the wall, and the Knights are just sitting there watching it.
It's true.
Like they're playing offense, waiting for it to land so that they could do something with it.
That's right.
I think that, they need to get more comfortable on the wall. And I know that's tough because most of them aren't programmed to go on the wall and be that wall presence. But I think if maccamachine can really get a handle on playing on the wall, he could be a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. I mean, even these teammates of maccamachine, gotta recognize that they can still go on the wall a little bit. Just need to do it now.
Yeah.
From his teammates.
Yeah, and I think the last kind of point that I want to make is capitalizing on goals. They need to capitalize on their chances. They had a lot in the finals, and I know we keep bringing up the finals, but that's where it showed the most.
That's right.
Their most inconsistent game, I think, in my opinion, was the finals. None of them showed up.
That's true.
I think Heater had the most points with like 120.
Yeah.
Don't remember the exact number. You can show it here. But they need to capitalize on their chances. They had a lot, and a lot of them were misses. You see they only had 3 or 4 shots on goal. That's because they missed the other ones.
That's right.
Completely.
And even open goal opportunities are like 2-on-1s, There's just so much opportunity there to just score an easy goal, and they're just missing them or just not putting enough pace on that ball, and their defense, it would just clean that up easily.
100%. And, yeah, got to clean up the defense. Got to work on spacing. Just recognizing where your players are and hitting the ball.
Yes, well, hopefully the Knights have been working on that this offseason as the I shouldn't say week, I should say season 6 starts up real soon.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think that if they fix one thing, maybe 2 on the list that we just talked about, I think they become a better team and they work throughout the season, improving on some other parts of their game. I think they're a force to be reckoned with next season.
Yes. Well, hopefully, again, they'll bring home another championship.
Hopefully.
Well, NickG, as always, thanks for being here. And we will see you guys in a week for the beginning of Season 6. Peace.
Peace.